Heather here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for the rest of 2021. So today is August 22nd, so I'm going to be talking about all the books that come out for the rest of the year that I am looking forward to reading. Not necessarily that I'm going to read this year, but that I'm excited for and plan to eventually read. If you like this video, please give it a big old thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button down below. That way you know the next time I post a video. I normally post twice a week on either Sunday or Monday and then on Wednesday around 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, I'm not going to go into in-depth about these books because I have 26 on this list. So if I did an in-depth description of every single book, we would be here forever. But the first book that I'm excited for comes out Tuesday, August 24th. And it is Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things by Margie Fuston. And this is kind of like a contemporary fiction, but like with a supernatural element. It's about this girl who has a sick father, and her best friend go on like a road trip to find a vampire to save him. Not sure how that's going to work out, but it sounds really interesting and kind of a unique concept. So that is actually coming out in 2 days. I had planned to read it in the month of August, but I'm kind of veering away from my TBR list, so I don't think it's actually going to happen. But I do kind of want to read this one before the end of the year because it sounds really good. The next book comes out September 7th, and it is called Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. And I mean, it's all vampires. What really more do I need to say? Okay, it looks like this is a book about the war between vampires and humans. It looks like the Holy Grail's involved. Like, I mean, I just don't know what more to say. That just sounds amazing. It's probably going to be darker because I believe he writes more like a darker fiction. So that's also good too. Which you'll actually notice a lot of the books that are on my most anticipated list for the rest of the year are kind of very gothic looking, which is kind of why I wore this today. I felt it matched the vibes of the books that I'm excited for. But yes, this one, I don't know if I'm going to read this one this year or not, but it does look really good and I'm really excited for it. Alright, the next book that I'm excited for comes out on September 7th, and it is called The Bones of Ruin by Sarah Raughley. And this is about, looks like an African tightrope dancer in Victorian London who cannot die. Okay, it's set in Victorian London 1. Tightrope dancer kind of sounds like it's going to be maybe revolving around the circus, and she can't die, so there's a supernatural element. So that just, it all sounds really good. So yeah. And the cover, too, looks pretty cool. The swords. So, yeah. I'm excited for this one, too. Another book that's coming out on September 7th that I'm excited for is The Jasmine Project by Meredith Ireland. And this sounds like it's going to be kind of like Taste for Love that I read earlier this year. That was so cute. It's compared to, like, The Bachelorette, and it says for fans of Jenny Han. It says that Jenny Han meets the Bachelorette in this effervescent romantic comedy about a teen Korean-American adoptee who unwittingly finds herself at the center of a competition for her heart as orchestrated by her overbearing, loving family. So this sounds so much like A Taste for Love, and that was like one of the best books I've read this year so far. So this sounds absolutely adorable. And I'm really looking forward to this one because I want another little feel-good, happy, like, rom-com. And this, I think this is going to tick all those boxes. So another book that's coming out September 7th is Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Sain. And this is, I think, like, a supernatural, like, murder mystery. And that's kind of all I need to know. I'm kind of, like, really into murder mysteries recently. So this just sounds really good. And I'm looking forward to this. Also, Hardback Hoarder got I think an arc of this, and she was saying that she didn't expect much, but then she was like shocked at how good it actually was. So that just makes me want to read it, because if someone else thinks it was shockingly good, I hope I find it shockingly good. Alright, so the next book is The Corpse Queen by Heather Herrman, and this comes out on September 14th. And this, it says that it's about a girl who becomes a grave robber, but then she gets entangled in a murderer's plan. So that just sounds really good. Again, loving the cover of this one. And, I mean, it just sounds interesting. That's all I know, though. And that's all I want to know, because that just sounds good. Then another September 14th release is Not Here to Be Liked by Michelle Quach. I think is how you say it. Probably not accurate, but this says it is emergency contact meets Moxie in this cheeky and searing novel that unpacks just how complicated new love can get when you fall for your enemy. So this sounds like enemies to lovers. That's always a good trope. And it looks like it might also have an Asian American in it, which I also like all those types of books. So yeah, just another good one. Alright, then the next book, there's actually quite a few that are coming out September 28th that I'm looking forward to, but this one I think I'm the most excited for. It's Lakesedge by Lyndall Clipstone. And look at this cover. Like, it is gorgeous. Like, most of these books that I've been talking about, I'm probably going to get on the Kindle, but this book is so gorgeous. Like, the cover, I want to, like, put it, like, on display on my bookshelves because it's just so gorgeous. I think this is probably the prettiest book cover that I've seen, like, this year, maybe ever, because it's just beautiful. But I'm going to read the synopsis for this because it also just sounds really good. But it says, a lush gothic fantasy about monsters and magic set on the banks of a cursed lake. Perfect for fans of Naomi Novik and Brigid Kemmerer? Okay, so then it says, there are monsters in the world. When Violetta Graceling arrives at haunted Lakesedge Estate, she expects to find a monster. She knows the terrifying rumors about Rowan Sylvanen, who drowned his entire family when he was a boy, but neither the estate nor the monster are what they seem. There are monsters in the woods. As Lita falls for Rowan, she discovers he is bound to the Lord Under, the sinister death god lurking in the black waters of the lake, a creature to whom Lita is inexplicably drawn. There's a monster in the shadows, and now it knows my name. Now to save Rowan and herself, Lita must confront the darkness in her past, including unraveling the mystery of her connection to the Lord Under. I haven't seen anyone talking about this book, and I don't know why, because it sounds amazing. I'm so excited for this book. I am ready for it. It's already in my Amazon cart, ready to order in September. I am really excited. And I hope you are too, because this just looks amazing. But I could be wrong. A lot of the books I've been anticipating or looking forward to reading this year have let me down. But I just don't know if that's maybe because I'm just hyping them up too much. But I hope this one does not let me down. Alright, another one that's coming out September 28th is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And I just finished reading Caraval last week and absolutely loved it. And I pre-ordered the next two books because I need to know what happens right away. And this is another book by her. And I heard that this might also be set in the same world of Caraval, so I just need more of that. Yes, please. But this one says that it's the first book in a new series about love, curses, and the lengths that people will go for happily ever after. This just sounds like a wonderful book for me. I mean, I'm Heather's Happily Ever Afters, and this is about how far people will go for a happily ever after. Yes, please sign me up. I'm super excited for this one. This is also in my cart, ready to go. Because Caraval was just so good. I'll talk about it more in my wrap-up, but it was so good. I loved it so much. And I wasn't planning on reading it this year either. But yeah, so I'm super excited for Once Upon a Broken Heart. Alright, so another book that is coming out September 28th is Drawn That Way by Elissa Sussman. And this says, Moxie meets the world of animation in this fresh, unput-downable novel about a teen girl determined to prove herself in the boys' club of her dream industry no matter what it takes. She wants to be an animation director. So that just sounds really good. I don't know if I'm going to read this year, but it does look really good and it intrigues me. Alright, so the September 28th releases continues with The Matzah Ball by Jean Meltzer. And this is about a novelist who writes Christmas romance novels, and then her publisher asks her to write a Hanukkah romance novel, and she's just not wanting to do it. And this just sounds really cute. I'm planning to read this in Christmas. It's on my December TBR list, and it just sounds so cute. And I mean, what more do you want? A happy holiday romance. Sounds great to me. Alright, so the last book that I'm excited for that comes out on September 28th is Autumn's Tithe by Hannah Parker. And this has to do with the fairies. So it says that every girl in Bellamore dreams of being chosen by the Fae. For some, because the Fae promised to deliver them to the beautiful fairy realm. For Larkin, because her closest friend was chosen the previous year. She tries to accept her fate until she discovers that her friend is in danger, and the promise of eternal joy amongst the Fae could be a lie. I love fairy books, so that's really all I need to know. It's about fairies. I will read it. So this one also sounds really good. I'm hoping this might be actually in a fairy loot box, because it just sounds like something like that they would have in a fairy loot box. So I'm going to hold off in the hopes that this will be in one. Alright, now we're into October, and there's quite a few that come out October 5th that I'm excited for. So the first one is When Night Breaks by Janella and Jealous, and this is book 2 of the Kingdom of Cards series, which I believe the first one is Where Dreams Descend. I haven't read the series yet, but it does intrigue me, and I do plan on reading both of these books this year. So since this is the second book, I'll tell you what the first book is about, Where Dreams Descend. It says, in a city covered in ice and ruin, a group of magicians face off in a daring game of magical feats to find the next headliner of the conquering circus, only to find themselves under the threat of an unseen danger striking behind the scenes. Yeah, I heard if you like the night circus, possibly maybe also the family opera, because this kind of sounds like, you know, a fan of the opera kind of vibe to it. If you like those types of things, the series is probably going to be for us. I don't know if I enjoy it yet. I will enjoy it, but I probably will. Then another October 5th release I'm excited for is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, and this is by the same author who wrote Sorcery of Thrones and Enchantment of Ravens. And this one says that it is about a teen girl with mythic abilities who must defend her world against restless spirits of the dead. And this cover looks really good. I really liked An Enchantment of Ravens, and I have Sorcery of Thorns, so I kind of have all of her books. Gotta get this one too. Alright, so the next one that's coming out October 5th is I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas by Tiffany Schmidt. And this says, a ballet and babysitter bring two teens together in this very merry holiday rom-com from the author of the acclaimed Bookish Boyfriend series. So, another one I'm excited to read in the holiday season. It sounds really cute. I personally took ballet for like 5 years, and I did Irish step dancing, so I like to read books about dancers. And I tried babysitting, not my thing, but you know. And I like rom-coms, so this just sounds really cute to read around the holiday season. Okay, so the next one that's coming out October 5th is Once More Upon a Time by Roshani Chokshi. And this one says, embark on a perilous journey with Imelda and Ambrose as they brave magical landscapes and enchanted creatures on their quest to reclaim their heart's desire, but first they must remember what that is. So this is another like fairy tale story. I'm all for those. Roshani Chokshi, I believe, were the Star Touch Queen. But yeah, this just looks really good. I like the cover of this. It looks very like fairy tale and whimsical, and that excites me. Alright, the final one for October 5th is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. And this is another one that I'm super excited for. I'm planning on reading this in October because it's giving me like spooky Halloween vibes. And this one says, practical, unassuming Jane Shoringfield has done the calculations and decided that the most secure path forward is this: a husband in a marriage of convenience who will allow her to remain independent and occupied with meaningful work. Her first choice, the dashing but reclusive Dr. Augustine Lawrence, agrees to her proposal with only one condition, that she must never visit Lindridge Hall, his crumbling family manor outside of town. Yet on their wedding night, an accident strands her at his door in a pitch-black rainstorm, and she finds him changed. Gone is the bold, courageous surgeon, and in his place is a terrified, paranoid man, one who cannot tell reality from nightmare, and fears Jane is an apparition come to haunt him. And this just sounds like a really good, like, gothic story that just might be a little spooky, and yet also has, like, a mystery that we have to solve. And the cover looks really cool too. So as soon as I found out about this one, I was like, yes, please, I want it. I want it now. Alright, so the last book in October that I'm excited for comes out October 12th, and it's The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. And this is the second book of the Prison Healer series. So the Prison Healer is about this girl who's a healer in the prison, and like a rebel queen gets put there and she's injured, and the prison healer has to take care of her, and then she also has to take her place in this game or competition. If she wins, the queen and her, I think, both get to leave the jail. If she loses, I think they both get killed. So this sounds really interesting. I have the Prison Healer. I haven't read it yet though, but I've heard great things about it, and if I like the first one, I want to continue the series. So I'm happy that the second book is coming out already. That way, if I decide to read it, I'll have the second one coming shortly thereafter. Alright, now we're into November, and there's quite a few that are coming out November 2nd that I'm excited for. The first one is Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and this is apparently a fairy tale retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. I've read Marissa Meyer's the Lunar Chronicles from her, and I really wasn't that impressed. Like, there was parts of it I liked, but I felt that it dragged on a lot, and I didn't really like the kind of like science fiction element of it. I thought because it was like a fairy tale retelling I would, but I didn't. So I'm not really sure if this is also going to be like her Lunar Chronicles, or if this is going to be like your traditional like fairy tale retelling. I'm not sure. So I'm a little apprehensive, but I think I'm going to give it a try because I personally haven't read that many Rumpelstiltskin's retellings, so it intrigues me. Right, another one that comes out November 2nd is Dreams Lie Beneath by Rebecca Ross. And this one says it's perfect for readers of the Hazelwood and the Night Circus. I love the Night Circus. This lush and layered story about magic and the captivating power of dreams is delivered with acclaimed author Rebecca Ross's signature exquisite style. Yeah, that sounds really good. The cover looks beautiful, and I'm excited for this one. I'm hoping this is good because it sounds like it could be amazing. Then the next one that's coming out November 2nd is The Grimrose Girls by Laura Pohl. And this says, the Descendants meets Pretty Little Liars, 4 troubled friends, 1 martyred girl, and a dark fate that may leave them all doomed. So I like the Pretty Little Liars, and I like the Descendants. Kind of sounds like maybe a murder mystery type of thing too. So that's all up my alley, and it sounds really good. Alright, so the last one that comes out November 2nd is A Rush of Wings by Laura E. Weymouth. And the cover of this is what intrigued me. I like the whole like swans and like the hair blowing in the wind. Like, this just looks gorgeous. But it says that Rowena Winthrop has always known there's magic within her. But though she hears voices on the wind and possesses unusual talents, her mother, Mayrid, believes Rowena lacks discipline and refuses to teach her the craft that keeps their Scottish village safe. Alright, so the next book comes out November 9th, and it's You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thau. And this is about a boy that dies, and his girlfriend is very upset about his death, and she decides to call his cell phone to hear his voicemail, and he picks up the phone. It says, If I Stay meets your name in this heartfelt novel about love, loss, and what it means to say goodbye. The cover's gorgeous. It just sounds so beautiful. I really liked Your Name, and I also liked If I Stay. Like, those are both really good. And so I'm really excited for this one because it just, I think it's going to be pulling at the heartstrings. And not many books do that. Or I don't really find that many books that are like supposed to be sad. Like, I don't read that many, but this one actually looks really good. And then another one that's coming out November 9th is All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody. And this one I'm planning also on reading in October for like the Halloween season. But it says, you fell in love with the victors of the Hunger Games. Now prepare to meet the villains of the Blood Veil. What? I really loved the Hunger Games. Like, that is such a good series. And this is about the villains of like another world. That just sounds good. I really don't want to know anything else besides that because that's just gripping. That's like a great like draw in. So I'm hoping this is kind of like really dark and kind of sinister is what I'm hoping for. The cover is kind of giving me those feels too. Alright, so on November 16th, Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong comes out, and this is the second book of These Violet Delight series. I haven't read the first book yet. I do have it, and I'm planning on reading that, I believe, in November of this year. And then, luckily, I'll have the second book to read right afterwards, which I believe I'm planning on reading this one in December. But These Violet Delights is like a retelling of Romeo and Juliet set in 1920 Shanghai, and I believe it's about two rival like gangs. So I've heard mixed reviews about These Violet Delights. Some people are like, oh my goodness, it was amazing. Excuse me. And then other people are like, it wasn't as good as I thought. It wasn't very like romantic. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but I think I'm going to like it. So I'm gonna be getting the second book. Alright, and the last book on my list that's coming out November 16th is The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks by Mackenzie Lee. And this is the third book in the Montague Siblings series. I've read the first book, and I'm planning on reading the second book in September, I believe. But the series is pretty good. I'm not going to tell you what, obviously, the third book's about, but the first book is... Alright, so the first book, The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, it's about Monty and Felicity and kind of like their tour around England, which is something that was really popular to do back in the Victorian period. Like the wealthy sons would go around and tour Europe for like a year or something like that. Well, Felicity goes with her brother, and they also take their best friend, who Monty and that best friend are like interested in each other. So it's also about like their relationship growing and like the struggles that it would be, because the friend, I believe, is biracial and he's also a guy. So Monty is like the sole heir of his family's estate, so he's expected to like marry a girl and like produce heirs, and he can't do that with a man. So there's like, oh, we want to be together, but we can't because it's like, we can't. So that was a good book. I haven't read the second one, like I said, but that one's focused on Felicity. And then this third book is going to be about another brother that I guess Monty and Felicity don't know that they have another sibling, and the sibling didn't know that he had other siblings. So it's just going to get all the siblings together, and that just sounds really good. So yes, there were like no books coming out in December. I couldn't find any that were coming out that I was interested in. Like, I couldn't even find any that were coming out in December. So I don't know if that's common for books not to come out in December, or if, you know, they're just not none of the books I'm interested in, like the YA books, is coming out. But yes, those are all of the books that I'm looking forward to for the rest of 2021, and I hope I gave you some ideas. And yeah, let me know which books you're excited for. Either you already were anticipating them, or now that you've watched this video, you're excited to read them for yourselves. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!